slapping, ball slapping. It's a podcast all about slapping them balls.
Hello and welcome back to Ball Slapping, the podcast all about hitting some things around with various implements, because that's what we like to do. Gareth, you're joining me again this week. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you. Very well, and I'm pleased to be back. Thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. I mean, we've had a couple of weeks off where we've done some inadvertent commas live podcasts where we've been on location.
Yeah.
Recording in Spain.
Very exciting.
And at the London Open for fives, which was pretty good, pretty niche, but pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. Well, good events. I was able to attend neither. How did it go?
Well, I lost in the final of both, so bad events for me. No, it's pretty good events considering.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. 2 silver medals.
Sure.
But yeah, I think they were run really well. Very nice to be at.
Well,
good
congrats.
camaraderie. The
Yeah.
reason I do these sports.
Congrats to the organisers there.
Indeed. How have you been on a couple of weeks off?
Good. Yeah, very, very busy. Too busy, in fact, to do any ball sports whatsoever. So, I'm glad you've been picking up the mantle there. Really, yeah. The only ball sports related news I've got is actually, because of this podcast, a chap that I used to know very well from the US Handball Association got in touch, saying that he's been listening, and he came with an idea of a new sport. He told me about a new sport that I was previously unaware of, you know, that fits the ball slaps mode.
Hit me.
It's called Viva Tula.
Viva Tula.
Viva Tula, yeah, which is cool. It's
is that a thing you blow at the Olympics or the World Cup in South Africa?
Well, there's a website for it, so I think it's vivatula.com. But nonetheless, but there's very precious little video out there of the game being played. But I think it's kind of brand new. This guy's had this equipment in development for about 3 years apparently, and. You put paddles on your hands to play. They call them paddles, right? But I think the best way I can describe it is it looks like a badminton racket. So the shape sort of a badminton racket, that sort of oval shape.
Yeah.
But affixed to a mitt into which you put your hand.
Okay.
And you put them on both hands.
Yeah.
And then you can hit it over a volleyball net, or you can use them in a paddle tennis court, or whatever you want to use them. I think, it's kind of the equipment is the unique bit of it, and then you kind of build your own courts. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to sort of seeing a bit more about that. But I thought it was interesting, that someone from the States has got in touch
this
saying they're
podcast
listening,
has gone international,
and suggesting, a new sport that I had never heard of. There's many of them coming out.
Viva Tula.
Viva Tula.
Viva Tula. Okay.
So maybe we'll talk to the Viva Tula guys at some point.
I think you probably should. And actually, it's interesting that my segue for that is that the guy's trying to introduce a new sport.
Yeah.
And then you and I had a chat the other day about, wouldn't it be interesting to do a podcast about introducing a new sport somewhere else, which led us to go to think about the very origins of one-wall handball in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
Because although not necessarily a new sport, nobody was playing this sport 20 years ago.
No.
What was your thoughts around?
Well,
let's have a chat about that.
I mean, I thought, as it's October, and you're being very modest here, really, because we asked. I think our second sort of international trip away as a England team, as it was then. It wasn't even the UK, was it? It was England handball. I think we hadn't changed the name to wall ball or anything. I think we'd done the Irish Open maybe once or twice before going. Maybe once in 2008, 2009 rolls around, and we end up going out to the States to play in the World Championships. And that all happened super fast. Yeah. So much so to the point, I'd say, that pretty much anyone who was playing wall ball in England at that point was on the plane to the US. That was the selection process. We go on about, things being accessible when you can go and play this sport and then be, in the same room as hallowed legends of the game. That was absolutely true for us. Yeah. We, to a large degree, I don't think knew what we were doing when we went to our first Worlds. But you ended up doing really very, very well.
I did all right.
And it's kind of 16 years to the month.
Wow.
I think so. I mean, it could even be to the day. I don't know when this is going to go out, but it's certainly an anniversary of our first trip to the US to play the Worlds.
Fair enough. You know what that means? It means we're going to put a bit of a music sting in here to introduce this segment
Fabulous.
about the origins of handball in the UK.
Back in 2009, a few young dreamers crossed the line. A wall, a ball, that's all they had. Might a kit and a vision so mad. From Portland courts to London streets, hands on walls and pounding beats. A spark was lit, it caught, it grew. Handball UK, we're coming through. We're coming through.
So, Gaz, take us back to the very, very beginning of how it all started. So we know about fives, right? Fives has been going for generations, hitting a ball against the wall with your hands. In every school playground, you're playing pat ball, slap ball, something like that.
Yeah.
And then along came this sport called one wall handball.
Yeah, I mean, obviously my memories are not the best, but I seem to remember a friend of ours had been out to New York, and he was a fives player, and he'd seen people hitting balls against walls in the street there, unbeknownst to him, it being one wall handball or wall ball as we know it now. And he came back to the UK super excited about it. Like, whoa, there's outreach here. You know, fives. It doesn't have to be at public schools anymore. We can bring this, into London. And that was the origins of how people started playing a bit of handball in the UK. But beyond that,
well, this was James Toop, right? So
yeah.
a guy who's already working in education, top fives player. Set the scene. James Toop was, I think, at that time the national Rugby Fives champion and the national Eton Fives champion. So he was very, very good at slapping things around with his hands. Still is.
Yeah, I imagine so.
And yeah, I think he saw, if you go to New York, there's 2,500 or whatever courts in the city. They're all this just like concrete walls. And if you don't know what they are, you might just walk past them. But as soon as you start knowing what a handball is, or you start seeing someone slapping a ball around, you're like, oh. And then it turns out it's a sport.
Yeah.
And because it's one wall, which, we've spoken on the podcast before about many different versions of hitting balls against walls.
Yeah, obviously. That's what it's all about.
They all get a bit complicated, but the simplest one is one wall handball.
Yeah.
And so he saw that and he was like, wow, this can work really well in schools. Came back, started something called the City Fives Association.
For our viewers here, I've got to say that.
Oh, no way.
Here's my England Fives top.
Oh, wow.
There it is, the City Fives Association logo there. So that's
well
just
done,
a bit of merch in prep for our little episode.
How lucky
here,
you're wearing that today. What a coincidence. But yeah, City Fives Association to kind of work alongside Eton Fives and Rugby Fives to get it going. I think they did some stuff in primary schools. I think one of the legends that we'll get on maybe one day called Paul Williams and maybe someone else came over to kind of introduce it, show a bit of a New York flair to it. And I think that's kind of how it started.
Yeah.
And it kind of bypassed Ireland, by the way, who play handball, although they weren't really playing too much one-wall handball.
No, not at the time.
But that's kind of how it kicked off. And I think James got it going in a few schools, ran it as a little pilot.
Yeah.
And over time that grew, and we can talk about how that turned into a bigger organisation that I took over and led forward at some point. But more interesting than that is that at the same time that we were doing stuff in primary schools, or James was doing stuff in primary schools, he found out about a tournament, an international tournament. Because, like I say, one wall standardises everything, which means that every country can now play that version of the sport. You can all come to it, and obviously America are absolutely amazing at it because that's what they play. Other countries aren't, but they can jump across to it.
Yeah.
And there was this thing called the Federation Cup, which was basically like the Davis Cup in tennis, where international teams can compete.
Yeah.
And so, I think we did one of those or two of those.
I wasn't involved back then. My brother, I think
your brother
came
did.
out on a couple of trips as manager of the squad.
That's right. Because I think I remember there being one tournament where we were at St Paul's School and they basically marked out lines with chalk on the wall, and they'd asked loads of Fives players to come to basically select an England team. Now, from that, the two Eton Fives players who were selected. There was Peter Cohen, tall, lanky, incredibly powerful,
very strong,
very strong,
very, very fit.
Yeah,
explosively.
His cardiovascular did run out famously.
But
I think Peter White, chalky. He was another Eton Fives player.
Yeah.
There's Dave Mew, another fives player.
And coach, yeah.
Yeah. And then from the rugby five side, it was AD Lee, who at that time was one of the best up-and-coming fives players.
Legend. We should do an entire podcast with him for
With
sure.
AD Lee,
What
yeah.
an
Currently making
absolute-
waves with paddling in Hong Kong.
What a G.
And I think the other selection was Ian Mogford, who was another St Paul's person. Unfortunately for Ian, he couldn't make it to
Right.
a certain event.
Right.
So the number 3, which was myself,
Right.
got selected up.
Nice.
So we basically had our 2 pairs.
lucky.
That was very nice. And then for the females, they were selected as well. So Kerry White, who we might get on, among others, was selected for that too. So yeah, that was the initial origin. And then you mentioned a couple of tournaments earlier. There was Ireland. And
Yeah, and my first trip with the squad was out to Ireland, and we all had, our brilliant stash that we were so happy with, and we went there all fresh-faced.
Went to Briefy House, I think.
No, not the
it
first time. Our first trip was to Sligo, and
Sligo.
again, so Briefy was where there was, a good deal of one-wall court set up, and, that they were all in one location.
Yeah.
But our first trip was to Sligo, where you may have to drive sort of half an hour over to a big alley court where they painted, where they
that's correct.
mark the lines.
Yeah.
But if you went too wide, you might hit the side wall or whatever. But they didn't. That was fine. That was just the origins of getting wall ball into, or the one wall game into the Irish Open.
This. So yeah,
it was like 08 or something.
Exactly. 08, I think. One of the first tournaments we did, and we all went to a big alley, like where they'd marked out a court.
Yeah.
They were playing with the Irish GAA ball.
They were, which spun the O'Neills, was it? Or
I think it's
it was-
O'Neills or something like that. But then, I mean, for viewers and listeners at home, if you normally hit a handball, it tends to follow a normal trajectory.
Normally,
but if the rubber is very grippy or something like that, if you have mean spin in your hands, you can literally make the ball like skip and meet it either way when it lands, and it becomes almost unplayable.
I mean, Desi Keegan absolutely schooled us on how to serve the spin serve, and a couple of others, but I particularly remember,
well, he was the
could
powerhouse
turn
as well.
it like Shane Warne, and if you didn't pick it on the half volley, basically, you were gone.
Oh, no,
you wouldn't know if it's spinning hard left or hard right, and you were out. I mean, that was gone.
I
Amazing.
mean, I think by the end I was doing it, but I didn't know how to do it. So people were like, "Oh wow, you're doing the spin," and I was like, "Am I? Great, fantastic!"
Yeah.
I'm just trying to hit it as hard as I can.
Yeah, but we'd done that trip to Ireland, and that was absolutely brilliant fun. And I think that it sort of led us on to wanting to do more and more of these international events, and people sort of seem to like us. I know it's unusual for the English to go away and be liked by anyone, but when you're kind of the new kids on the block internationally, and you can do it okay, like we could hit a ball. We weren't amazing, but we could hit a ball, and I think it is exciting, particularly in Ireland, where they've been playing for generations, and then people come along that can kind of do it. We had some success, I think, in certain categories. We did. So I think that really spurred us on to doing more international competition.
So I think the nationals that went to in Ireland, which were they might mass participation, so a lot of people were able to come over to them. The Federation Cup was quite selective. It was team only. And the first year, like I feel, Gaz, like if we weren't so middle class, this would be a great redemption story for someone to do in a Hollywood movie. But essentially, we are middle class. And we went to the first Federation Cup.
I admit it.
Yeah, we went to the first Federation Cup. We had got the Westway Sports Centre where we had the side of a tennis ball with breeze blocks.
Yeah.
We basically played against that for a few weeks.
Yeah,
and then
masking
we
tape.
And masking tape, and then went out to compete internationally. We got destroyed by every single team there, I think apart from Wales.
Okay,
So
well,
I think
shout
we were-
out to the Welsh.
Yeah. So I think we were pretty much the worst country in the world at the end of that tournament. But we began to see some of the internationals. Like we knew the Irish played, but didn't really realise that like the Australians played, like the Americans played, Puerto Rico, Dominico, which then it turns out they're just USA 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever.
I mean, sure, that's a very cynical way of doing it. No offence, I'm sure intended.
But it was you began to see some amazing stuff.
But a lot of New York players, with Puerto Rican backgrounds, and Puerto Rico champions of the world many times over. So,
Exactly.
I mean, fair play.
I remember that tournament being like proper baptism, but really, really fun. Got to meet people like who are total legends that we didn't really appreciate. Legends like your
this is
Willie
it.
Polancos and like There's a guy called Gio Vasquez, the Human Torch in New York, who
Yeah,
like,
flame
on. He's a bit
what a dude.
crazy, but I've never seen anyone with as much skill as him. And there was one point we were playing against Puerto Rico, we were losing like 20-0, and then I think I hit a shot, and I was like, "That's it." I've hit a great shot. And from the back of the court, Gio hits this ball. It goes from the back left, it goes into the top right-hand corner. And me and Adi look at each other and we're like, yes, we've won a point. But he actually spun it with enough cut that it hit the wall and then just like cut straight down the line. And we were like, what is this? It's unbelievable.
Yeah, what can you do? Yeah.
Anyway, last in the world pretty much. Went away for a year. Played against the Westway Breeze Block Wolves every week with like a wider club and people as well. Went to the Federation Cup the next year, and then we ended up finishing 5th or 6th. So we did really well. So we started to get a lot better, and that was when they were like, "Oh, by the way, the World Championships is next year."
Right. So
the World Championships is in Portland, in America.
Yeah.
You should all come. Mm-hmm. So then we went back, and we decided to all go.
Yeah.
And do you want to like lay the scene about what like this World Championship is, especially coming from like, you know, we play fives and there's like 5 people who play. You see the same people every week, and you know you've been to Ireland a bit. You've seen a few other people that are playing, and this thing can't be that big, right?
Yeah, but then it turned out that the Irish alone were sending over 260 people to play in this tournament out in Portland, Oregon. Our little contingent ended up going as well. How many? I would have thought at least a dozen of us probably went.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, but men and women, and competed in different categories as well. I think there was big ball, 4-wall, and small ball available.
Yeah, so they'd. I mean, 4-wall has traditionally been what they do at the World Championships a lot. Yeah. 1-wall was being introduced. I think it was already introduced by this stage, but it was kind of growing.
Not in America, because they wouldn't have had a championship there for 9 years. I think it was Chicago in 2000, and then Portland, Oregon was 2009. Okay. So this would have been the first time the Worlds in the US would have had 1-wall as a thing. And I think they made a real big deal out of it, and it was great. Both codes of 1-wall as well, big ball and small ball.
Yeah, and when they do 4-wall is on a smaller court, and it's played with a very hard rubber ball that pings all over the place.
Yeah, it's amazing.
We gave that a go, bloody hard. We'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
We did 1-wall, which is the traditional that you'll have seen it on the Spanish podcast, big ball.
Yeah.
But they also do 1-wall with a small ball, which again is basically the same ball they play 4-wall with.
Kids that have played with a bouncy ball in the playground, it's not too dissimilar to that. It bounces around like nobody's business, and it requires
a proper bouncy ball, isn't it? It's super fast.
Yeah. Super fast.
And requires a lot more skill and talent. Don't tell the big ballers that. But
and we ended up going to this club in Portland to play called the Multnomah Athletics Club.
The MAC.
The MAC, which is sort of a very classic American sports club.
Just to set that scene as well.
Yeah.
We were used to 5s tournaments where you turn up, there's 2 courts, there's maybe like a portaloo or some logs outside.
Yeah.
It's pretty cold, everyone's together. Then we turned up to the MAC.
Yeah, I mean, I've got I've pulled up a couple of facts on the MAC actually. I got it on the old wiki, because it is in fact what was it saying? It's a private social and athletic club in Portland, Oregon. Yes, we knew that. It's currently a 21,000 member institution, but it's the size of the place. It's over 600,000 square feet of sports centre. You know, it has its own stadium.
Oh, it has a baseball stadium attached to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it has a diamond attached to it, or either that or a gridiron. Someone will probably correct me.
I think it's baseball. Yeah.
But absolutely sensational. So you can be on the treadmill on like the 4th floor overlooking a baseball match in like a 20,000 seater arena or something. But yeah, an incredible sports club we went to, super exclusive. And I'm led to believe Portland, it might have changed over the last 16 years. But when we went there, my word, what a beautiful city, that just everything, just this big open sort of wide pavements, litter free, such a groovy vibe. The sun was shining. It was just amazing. I thought it was pristine, that city. I absolutely loved being there.
Yeah.
And I was bowled over by the MAC.
Yeah.
What a club.
Well, several basketball courts,
Yeah.
Olympic-sized swimming pool,
Yeah.
loads of handball courts. They had
Yeah.
in 2 of the basketball courts, they built the one-wall courts. 2
Yeah.
one-wall courts are white and were pretty good to play on. One of them, I remember, had like a green floor and was quite slippery, and
was
you
not
didn't really
ideal.
see what was going on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible. And the jacuzzi. Oh my gosh. We went to the jacuzzi after like almost every day. The jacuzzi's bigger than my bathroom. Like you can just...
It was nuts. And I was chatting to my brother about this. We remember going for a sort of a post-match steam and sitting in this gigantic room and just thinking, oh, it's not very steamy in here. And then this old boy walks in with a towel around his waist, gives us a sort of a curious glance as to what are these lads doing sitting in here. And he walks up to this big red wheel on the wall, starts turning it, and within about 3 seconds, like you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. It was just steam to the max in there. It was just absolutely amazing. We've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, incredible. And that's
A genius.
That's before
place.
you even
I
played
loved it.
handball.
Yeah.
So incredible facilities, an incredible place. We're already blown away. Then the Nike campus is down the road as well, so we had a little look at that. But then the handball as well, like over 1,000 people who love hitting a ball against a wall, and you realise you're part of this world.
Yeah.
Of people who love hitting balls against walls.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there was everyone from sort of Ecuador to, to us guys to like everyone was playing. Every nation,
Australia, Japan.
The Japanese were there. It was a heck of a tournament, and we, of course, didn't really know about the lore of some of these people that we were seeing just walking past in the corridor or just chatting to them whilst watching someone else. There were some real greats at that tournament that we didn't really know from Adam. In particular, I remember Dave Chapman.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Turning up, and who's sadly passed away at a very young age in 2016. But I just remember there's a lot of big sort of handball celebs there. Paul Brady was going for his 3rd world champs in a row, so everyone kind of knew who he was. But when Dave walked in, there was like sort of a hush came around the bed. It's Dave Chapman, because he'd been off the scene for a little while, I think, and had returned to play a bit of handball, and it was like, oh wow, this sort of enigmatic handballing genius is amongst us. And it was things like that were just happening around us all the time, and we didn't know. We were just kind of learning as we went along. And meeting and watching all these great players play and mucking in and having a bit of a go ourselves.
Yeah, I'd say like the legends who were there that I can remember, Dave and Paul, from the one wall side. Like say, Gio, we'd kind of got to know because we'd seen him when we'd been in Italy, but he turned up wearing a plastic KFC crown on his head, his Burger King crown. And we were like, why is this guy wearing a crown? We didn't know about a tournament called King of the Courts at that stage, one of the biggest tournaments in the US.
No.
And then you get given a crown when you finish, and Gio was just walking around with the crown because he'd beaten the undisputed number 1 called Rookie Wright, who is the personality of the one wall scene. And those
big guy, big personality.
I think famously he used to love betting people. He bet people once that he'd beat them holding a chair in one hand.
This is the apocryphal tale that I've heard. I believe it though. I'll hold a chair in my right hand and beat you with my left or whatever. So, and apparently that's
he did indeed.
So,
but then I think that the one wall big ball final came down to those two again.
It did.
And
it did. And it was extraordinary, actually. It was an incredible match. And Gio was Rookie's opponent in that one, obviously. And he on court was sort of known for, I don't know, he's just like being a bundle of energy. Like he's a bit sort of iShow Speed before iShow Speed came along. Not necessarily known for humility on court. But I do remember after his loss, so Rookie ended up winning the Worlds there, and Gio was devastated. But I remember, after most people had left, he was going around kind of packing up the chairs and, just putting them in piles and stuff. And he was, oh, no, I got it. Just that sort of humility. Maybe it was something he was doing as sort of therapy to think and, to be around and, I don't know, maybe not let go in some way. But I thought it was tremendously sort of humble after like an amazing final, which he didn't manage to win.
I do remember the final being somewhat one-sided. Am I right in remembering that?
Yeah,
I
it was
think
like the anticipation, like it just sort of blew up slightly.
I think he was very nervous, wasn't he?
Or Rookie at the time was, a massive favourite and was supposed to win that.
I don't think Rookie wanted to let him in after losing King of the Courts.
Yeah.
That was one story. Very incredible. And over that tournament as well, Gio, I remember him teaching me how to lob the ball. And he just said at the back of the court, it's just like spanking a baby on the ass. and that's how I do it. And you know what? It works really well now. So that was one really good one. I think Willie Polanco, he would have won the doubles.
He did win the dubs.
Big ball and small ball?
Yes, I think so. With Joe Kaplan.
In the small ball. Right. And maybe Pee Wee in the big ball.
Gosh, hang on. I've pulled it up here actually. 2009 dubs. We've got that looks like Willie and Tony Roberts.
Tony Roberts. Wow.
Yeah. Now Victor Lopierre he beat Victor Lopierre and I called Andre Kaya.
Oh, that's PlayStation. Yeah, Andre Calais.
Calais. Okay, got you. I was going for Spanish pronunciation. But PlayStation. And what a great nickname. But, these were like, people that we didn't know and just came to be aware of their legend, because we went to this tournament randomly. It was great.
And then the England team ourselves. I think Pete Cohen was the only one brave enough to go into the pro grade. And he got beaten, but not without putting a bloody good effort in.
Yeah. He was a real, he was our number one player.
He was,
then,
back then.
Yeah, for sure.
How did you get on?
I remember the schedule being reasonably punishing.
I feel like that might be a common theme in a lot of these handball tournaments.
Yeah, I mean, you got at the start of the week, we entered as many grades I think as we could, as we were allowed to. As many different handball disciplines as we could. And so there was a lot of games to be played. There was a lot of competitors. And you got your schedule. It was like you were playing at 6:45 a.m., and then your next game is at 8 p.m. or something. It was just to get your head around that. It was like, right, so I've got to get up at 5 in the morning, and I think most of us probably when we practice sports, we're kind of evening people because we've been at work during the day and then we go for a game. It's quite difficult to get up and start playing handball at 6:45 in the morning. So that's my sort of excuse out of the way. But I played doubles with Luke Stradwick with Stradders, and we had a great time. In I think the four wall and the singles. I played the singles and the four wall and the big ball rather.
Yeah.
The one wall. Yeah, we had a laugh. It was great. So we were kind of big doubles pair that thought we were going to like it. But I think what grade would I have been in? The C?
I think you were in the C's.
Probably C's grade. Yeah.
Yeah. I think
for sure.
For me, I did the C small ball. Obviously, I didn't do very well in that. I think that was the one where I played. Was that the one I played someone called Connor O'Connor? The most Irish of Irish names.
That could have been, yeah. It was either, and that could have been the tournament where I played Brian O'Brien as well. So yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, and
Connor's a good guy though.
He is a good guy, but I was in the C
Proper
grade,
cool
and that's when I learned the concept of sandbagging. No offense, Connor.
We did feel that the Irish were way too good to be in the C grades, didn't we, at the time?
Well, the concept of sandbagging is, you're too good to be in that grade. You're trying to get for a title.
Sure.
And I remember playing Connor, and I was like, he's like, how long have you played? And I was like, well, maybe this is my first ever proper time on a court. What about you, Connor? And he was just like, well, I'm an All-Ireland champion. I was like, what? Why are you the C grade?
Yeah. He had been an All-Ireland champion, hadn't he, in the past, and he was obviously an extremely good player.
Yeah.
I think he'd packed on a couple of pounds, and he'd been on telly doing a weight loss documentary or something, hadn't he? It was sort of like a -11 Ireland, I think, at that point. But a really good player. But the context is that, in America and Ireland, there were such good players that these were C grade players.
That's probably
true. It's just
true,
that the English C grade and the Irish C grade were many poles apart.
Yeah. In the big ball, I think I must have gone out in the quarterfinals or something in the singles, but in the doubles, me and Adi had a really good run.
Yeah. See, we got to come on to it because
Yeah.
it is true. You had better than a good run. It was absolutely brilliant. So tell us a bit about what happened.
Well, good runs throughout. Scraped through a couple of games. Got to the final. Got to the final of the World Championships.
Yeah.
In the B grade.
B grade.
And that was also when we decided we'd start doing the Ashes.
Oh, would it have been Ryan in the
Yeah,
Australian?
I think so. Ryan and Dom, perhaps.
Dom,
And it was like, okay, we're gonna. So we're basically gonna introduce
we
this
played the
thing
Ashes, yeah,
where we're
sorry,
gonna
yeah.
start now playing the Aussies in every World Championships going forward to make the Ashes.
Yeah.
Um,
Simon
and-
Fitzgerald I played against.
Ah,
Great,
nice.
yeah, great guy. Yeah.
And then me and AD won. So we won. So I am a world champion.
Yeah.
Asterisk B grade.
Became a world champion. Yeah, which is amazing though, isn't it? That is fantastic.
Yeah.
It was a seriously decent standard. I think probably standards have gone up massively now. So, but at the time, fantastic. And you definitely were able to sort of get some traction and interest in wall ball back over here off the basis of coming saying
Off the back
I'm
of
a world
that,
champion.
for sure, yeah. I mean, I managed to do some stuff individually, but as a team, we also managed to go because one of the things they would also do, they did the ELA Cup of Nations when we were there, which was basically another Federation Cup-esque thing.
Yeah.
And I believe the top teams were USA 1, 2, and 3, and 4, basically being USA, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and maybe Dominican Republic or something.
Sure.
But out of all the other nations there, we basically they did like a drop down, so 5 through whatever went into basically a plate, which was like the ELA Cup of Emerging Nations.
Yeah.
And the England team won it, so we actually won the ELA Cup. So we then became 5th in the world.
Yeah. What a result.
Really good team. We had I don't know if Peter Cohen I don't think played because he'd had a monstrous match the day before and had destroyed himself in some. I think he was in the A quarterfinal or something really impressive.
Yeah, sure.
And then so me and AD, Chalky, the girls was Emelina, Anita,
yeah,
Where's Kerry?
Ashley.
Oh, Ashley, yeah.
Yeah, Ashley, Kerry.
And Kerry.
Probably.
And then I think so, probably. And then but we won it, and it was great. And so basically coming back from that World Championships with we got 2 world champions B grade, and the ELA Cup, which has great photos because American trophies they're plastic, they don't hold up in close inspection, but they look bloody good from a distance.
They're big, shiny. Yeah.
And it's for me, my overriding memories are just being blown away by the facilities, being blown away by the fact that, oh my God, there are hundreds of people just like me that like hitting balls around.
Yeah.
And it made me so into it that when I came back, I then started to train pretty hard. I then went to New York the year after. I then took over England handball when it kind of folded from James 2 and then turned it into what it is today.
Yeah.
So little experiences like that actually led me off this massive path of change.
Yeah, and I mean, that was all brilliant fun, reminiscing about that, and stuff is coming back to me massively. But it is, there was a sort of point in talking about it, which is the accessibility of it still. That's what I'm sort of interested in your perspective of it, because at that time in 2009, it was, you can turn up, you can kind of hit a ball, you can go wherever, you're going to be included in squads or whatever. And it's all self-financed, by the way. I mean, unless you're Emelina getting the sponsorship from the bakery, which is absolutely wicked. But most of us just self-financed and sort of sucked up the cost and just went. And I don't think the world was quite as expensive back then. Maybe it was. We'd had the 2008 financial crash or whatever. But we went anyway. And the point was, if you could kind of afford to go and you could hit a ball, and you were all right, you were going to be on the plane.
Yes.
And I don't know to what extent that is still kind of true, and in which grades it would be true for, and who it might be true for.
Yeah, so I think that is still true, listeners at home, in the World Individual Championships. So the team stuff is now actually a much higher standard, really quite hard now. The individual stuff, anyone can go to because they're just open events, so anyone can enter. And they do have their A, B, C grades. Yeah. And C grade is pretty suitable for people who are coming along. But I think a lot of that's to do with the organisation as well. So, for example, my organisation with the the world tour, we've put a ranking system in place, so we won't have sandbaggers because we know where you should be.
Sure.
Other worlds don't necessarily do this. But the interesting thing about the worlds now is that because four was such a big focus, it basically only rotated around the four nations. So it was like Canada, Ireland, America, repeat.
Yeah.
And it just did that triangle the whole time.
Yeah.
Which for a worlds, I don't really rate because there's a lot of other people in the world and one wall is super accessible and can be played everywhere.
Yeah.
That has just split in the last world. So now one wall and four wall are separated, which means one wall can now go somewhere else. So the next one is actually next year in the home of one wall handball in New York City. So still
amazing.
in America, but it'd be pretty cool to do it where it started. And then after that, it could literally go anywhere, like come to the UK, go to Spain, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's still really accessible. I think it's a superb experience. And I'd recommend anyone do it. And my other two experiences, Gaz, I can't believe I've forgotten about this.
Oh, go on.
In Portland, which I think at the moment is designated a massive war zone with the National Guard.
I think so.
But it's not like that. They had one of the most incredible things. If you could put like the best things in your life together in one sentence, it would be glow in the dark, underground, 3D, pirate themed, crazy golf. That was amazing. And the other thing that was great was that when we had like the banquet on the final night, we invented a new game. Maybe it's not Vuvuzela Ball or whatever.
We did, yeah. There's video evidence of it. Powerball.
Where I think we got onto the one wall courts with a huge red balloon.
Yeah.
And then just started to smash this thing around while trying to not slip over in dress shoes.
Yeah.
It was great.
It was great fun, wasn't it? Yeah, a few beers probably had been consumed by that point as well. That was great. Yes, I also that trip had a thing called beer cheese soup, which I think are three words that go tremendously together. It tasted pretty good. And never had beer cheese soup since though, so
well, bring it
I don't
back,
know what that
Gaz.
tells you. Yeah.
Well, good reminiscent episode. We could probably do a sequel one day if you viewers at home want to, about what that then led to with how this thing grew and developed over the years to being an organisation in the UK at least, where thousands of kids are now doing stuff across the city. You know, international stuff has gone mainstream. Like all little things have turned into quite big things after that.
Yeah, it's true. And lots of the people that we met then have become friends. And I'm always interested in catching up with some of those people and those names that we've pulled out of the hat today, which may not mean anything to loads of people. They could do, because there's like interesting, cool people that.
Well, Gaz, have I got a surprise for you?
Oh.
Because next week,
yes,
we'll hopefully, fingers crossed,
go on.
we'll hopefully get Willie Polanco on. Absolute multiple world champion. Really nice guy.
Willie Polanco.
And hopefully
Legend
we'll get him
again.
on next week.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed. Otherwise, it'll be me and Gaz on a sofa again.
Nonetheless, as indulgent as this was, I thought it was tremendously good fun and good to sort of recap a bit of where it came from and why we're here
and
now.
From a ball slapping point of view, we have lived through this. I would love to hear the stories of some of the other things.
Yeah.
Like the pickleball story. Even the paddle story to some extent. And all these little games. So if you're at home now, you're from Spike Ball or something like that have seen it literally go from a backyard game and something mainstream.
Yeah.
Oh, let's talk about that.
Yeah. And even if you have been at any of the World Championship handball events that we've been to.
Yeah.
If you've got any memories of playing against any of us or whatever, if you're listening to this, if you've got your own experiences, let us know.
Indeed. Well, Gaz, it's been a pleasure reminiscing.
Thank you very much.
Very much indeed. And we'll do it again next time, I'm sure, when we probably have to do another filler podcast. But, no, it's been great, and it's brought back a lot of great memories for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.
Cool. Well, we'll see you next week, Gaz.
Next time.
Bye.
We flew out to Portland, jet lagged and loud. Dan and Adrian smashed the B-doubles crowd. Cohen and Chalky gave it some flair, but England took the ashes. We own that air. Glow in the dark golf, underground night. Pirates with putters, 3D delight. Rookie took singles, Willie took two. Tony and Toe, yeah, that'll do. Paul Brady's rolling, third crown, no flaw. so it don't mean much. True, Brian O'Brien's dancing, the bar's half gone, and the wall ball wave keeps rolling on. What an incredible ride it's been. We lit a flame, it's burning within. From Portland Nights to the Emerald Scene, we'll do it again in 3 years in Ireland.